A poor man was sitting and singing on the street to earn money to make a living, but when he wasn't paying attention, a thief suddenly appeared and took his precious little money. The man saw this and hurriedly chased after the thief, but unfortunately, he accidentally slipped and fell into a hole. The man looked up at the edge of the hole and felt extremely desperate. It was so difficult for him to reincarnate once, but he had to live such an unfortunate life. Then someone filled the hole. When Do-jun opened his eyes, he found himself in a very luxurious place. It seemed to be an airplane. An old man sitting next to him told Do-jun that he was dead. But after hearing this, Do-jun was very calm. He thought he was on a plane to heaven. He also asked the other party if there were so few deaths in the human world recently. But the old man said, "I am not a messenger from heaven." The old man came to negotiate with Do-jun. Do-jun was really dead. The old man could grant Do-jun's 3 wishes, but in return, Do-jun's soul would be sold to the devil in 10 years. After hearing this, Do-jun laughed out loud. A person like Do-jun had nothing but this body, so there was no reason for him to sell his soul. Do-jun even said that the old man had found the wrong person, but the old man must have had a reason for coming to Do-jun. Of course, the old man had a solution. The old man asked Do-jun to remember what his wife had said. Sure enough, after Do-jun drank a glass of wine, he began to tell about his miserable life. Taking this opportunity, the old man took out a thick book and said that he could help Do-jun. Then, Do-jun decisively signed his name. From then on, Do-jun's life changed completely. Sure enough, after Do-jun woke up, he was as young as a young man. Do-jun also knew the price he would have to pay in 10 years. But no matter what, Do-jun had to enjoy his current life. Do-jun soon became a famous singer. Do-jun knew that this was related to that contract. 10 years passed quickly, so he had prepared everything to protect his soul. It took Do-jun 5 years to find the old man who signed the contract with him. It turned out that the old man was now the chairman of a large company. Do-jun asked Chairman Baek to go to the rooftop. Then Do-jun took off his coat and revealed a suit of armor inside. Then Do-jun pulled out a sword and slowly walked towards Chairman Baek. Chairman Baek also praised Do-jun for being very well prepared. Do-jun said that he had used all his savings to buy the armor and sword. So Do-jun advised Chairman Baek not to touch him because this armor could prevent danger and protect him. Chairman Baek asked Do-jun if there were only 5 days left, but Do-jun did not want to hear anything more from Chairman Baek. Do-jun immediately brought up Chairman Baek's corruption evidence to negotiate, but he didn't care. Chairman Baek said that he was the same as Do-jun. Chairman Baek was also one of the people who signed the agreement. Today was the last day for the agreement. Chairman Baek advised Do-jun not to try to deal with it anymore because it was all in vain. Then the news of Chairman Baek's death spread very quickly. Chairman Baek's end made Do-jun extremely scared. When Do-jun saw the agreement with his signature, he immediately tore it up and set it on fire. Do-jun would not let himself end up like Chairman Baek. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. This person just entered and took out a letter. Do-jun was already very familiar with this. The time on the letter showed only 3 days left. Do-jun pretended to be calm and asked what this was. This person asked Do-jun back, "Don't you want to see me?" Because the person who burned the agreement usually wanted to see him. Do-jun was startled and asked if he was a devil who specialized in collecting souls. Taikang said yes. Taikang was a devil. Taikang even reached out to shake Do-jun's hand and thanked him, because in 3 days, Do-jun would offer his soul to Taikang. Do-jun immediately ran to a cabinet. Inside were the symbols that Do-jun had prepared to ward off evil spirits for the past 10 years. Do-jun also sprinkled salt and rice on Taikang, but the salt and rice remained motionless in the air. Taikang told Do-jun that he was not an ordinary devil, so the salt and rice had no effect on him. Do-jun threw garlic at Taikang again, but he immediately burned the garlic. Taikang sarcastically said that this was just child's play. Do-jun knew that he would die anyway. At night, Do-jun continued to look at the letter. The number inside the letter began to change to 2 days. Do-jun didn't expect that all of Do-jun's 10 years of preparation to deal with the devil would be in vain. At this moment, Do-jun felt a little regretful, but things could no longer be saved. Do-jun was forced to pay the price for his previous choice, but something happened that gave Do-jun a chance to change the situation. That day, Do-jun went into a coffee shop and saw a girl playing music. This reminded him of himself. In the past, he would just sit quietly on the street playing music, but the girl's next words made everyone talk. She was singing a song that singer Do-jun had just released, but she had previously introduced it to everyone as her own work. Although everyone's expressions were a little strange, she still tried to sing the whole song. Then her best friend let Yi-kyung listen to the song that Do-jun had just released. Yi-kyung was extremely surprised because this was clearly a song she composed herself, but now it had become someone else's new song. So Yi-kyung chased after Do-jun to question him. After Do-jun heard it, he immediately became angry. He absolutely never plagiarized. But when Do-jun turned around and left, Yi-kyung was extremely confused. If it was similar to one song, it could be considered a coincidence, but if it was similar to 2 songs, it couldn't be said to be a coincidence anymore. Do Jun thought that Yi Kyung was deliberately trying to pick a fight with him, so he didn't bother with her. But after Do Jun returned home, he still worried about it. He often had dreams where there was a band. After he woke up, he started composing, and he always felt that this song was composed by him. It turned out that everything was caused by the devil. Yi Kyung looked at the song she composed herself and felt extremely helpless. Yi Kyung's best friend couldn't stand it anymore, so she gave Yi Kyung the phone from 10 years ago. At that time, Yi Kyung sang this song to her best friend. Yi Kyung's best friend recorded it, and the time was very clear. Then she told Yi Kyung to take this phone and go find Do Jun to talk. In the middle of the night, Do Jun's doorbell rang. Although he was suspicious, he still opened the door, but strangely, there was no one outside. When Do Jun turned around, he was knocked unconscious. When Yi Kyung walked to Do Jun's house, she saw blood, looked forward and saw Do Jun collapsed in a pool of blood. Do Jun was taken to the hospital afterwards, but because he was bleeding too much, the doctor couldn't save him. At this time, the doctor came out and told Yi Kyung to prepare himself mentally. Before Yi Kyung could react, the doctor covered Do Jun with a white towel. Suddenly, the heart rate monitor changed. Do Jun suddenly woke up, which surprised the doctors. They had never seen this before. It turned out that on the night Do Jun was beaten and hospitalized, a man in a suit appeared. That person was Tae Kang. Tae Kang's eyes began to change, and black smoke covered his entire body. Tae Kang leaned close to Do Jun and said that without my permission, you cannot die. After Tae Kang finished speaking, he immediately left. Unexpectedly, the devil, Tae Kang, was a famous actor. After Do Jun woke up, he walked out of the hospital room. Do Jun passed Yi Kyung, who was also extremely surprised. After Do Jun returned, he looked at the letter in his hand. There was only one day left. Do Jun also knew that Tae Kang could bring the dead back to life, but he clearly could not fight this kind of devil. Perhaps he could only accept his fate. At this time, Tae Kang searched for the actor's body because he liked the feeling of being praised. Being admired by everyone made him feel satisfied. At this time, the host asked the audience if they wanted to hear Tae Kang sing. So backstage, Tae Kang started practicing singing. Seeing that he sang so badly, the assistant suggested an idea, which was to pretend to faint when he went on stage. After all, actor Tae Kang used to be a musical student, so the devil started to worry. It would be useless for him to practice singing now. Meanwhile, Do Jun was hugging the urn and crying loudly. This was the urn of the ashes of his beloved cat that he had raised for 2 years. When Do Jun returned home, he discovered that someone had murdered his cat. The police quickly found the suspect. Do Jun went in and asked who the murderer was, but the murderer was calmly whistling. Yi Kyung was also there. Yi Kyung suddenly remembered that she had heard this whistling sound that night when she went to look for Do Jun, and this person was holding an iron pipe in his hand. Then she immediately realized that the other person was the murderer. Even though it was dark, she was very sure the culprit didn't care. He just smiled sarcastically. Seeing that the culprit didn't feel guilty at all, Do Jun was extremely angry. Do Jun didn't understand why he would harm an innocent cat, but the culprit said that cats meowing disturbed him from playing games. Do Jun angrily picked up a chair to hit him, but he asked Do Jun how much compensation he wanted. Do Jun threatened that I would beat you up and then I would swipe my card to pay you. After hearing that, the culprit was scared and ran away immediately, but he was immediately knocked to the ground by Yi Kyung. This time he lay still. Do Jun asked Yi Kyung why she went to look for him that day when they didn't know each other. Yi Kyung took out her phone and showed the recording time. She just wanted to prove that she didn't sing his song again. Because of what Yi Kyung said, Do Jun was extremely angry. After that, Do Jun cursed Tae Kang as a scammer. It turned out that Tae Kang had used dirty tricks to help Do Jun fulfill his dream. This was a fraudulent agreement, but Tae Kang said that getting results was enough. At this moment, Do Jun realized that all his songs were plagiarized. He had never done such a shameful thing in his life. Tae Kang said that he was only responsible for carrying out the agreement, so he didn't care about those other issues. Do Jun was angry, thinking that Tae Kang had broken the agreement and broken his promise. But angering the devil definitely doesn't end well. Tae Kang immediately grabbed Do Jun by the neck and dragged him to hell. Tae Kang told Do Jun that they could fulfill the agreement today, but Do Jun said that he still had value. Sure enough, Tae Kang was interested after hearing that. Do Jun took advantage of his advantage and said that he could teach Tae Kang to sing. Then Tae Kang went on stage, but in fact Do Jun was singing behind the stage for him. Tae Kang was already a popular actor, and now, with his good voice, he was praised even more. So Tae Kang gave Do Jun another chance, which was that Do Jun would have to find someone else to sign the agreement to replace him. That way, Do Jun's soul would be free. But when Do Jun thought about it, he felt a bit immoral to do so. Do Jun intended to do it carelessly to prolong the time, but after he returned to the company, Chairman Lee happily introduced the new director. This person was Tae Kang. When Do Jun saw Tae Kang, he was immediately worried. Director Seo Jung was also surprised and froze on the spot. She tried to calm down. It turned out that Tae Kang was her ex-boyfriend. When Tae Kang passed by Seo Jung, she greeted him, but he acted like he didn't know her and walked straight away. Sojung thought that Tae-Kang was still angry with her, so she took the initiative to admit that she had been too busy before and had often forgotten him. Today, when she learned that Tae-Kang was going on stage to perform, Sojung brought flowers to congratulate him. However, Tae-Kang acted as if he had never known Sojung. She didn't understand how they had been in love for 5 years, but he could be so cold. Sojung got angrier as she spoke. She cried and her tears fell on his shoes. These tears made him do something unexpected. He learned the human way and wiped her tears. She still didn't know that the person in front of her was actually a demon who had lived for 500 years. He was just using the actor Tae-Kang's body to fulfill his wishes. His purpose here was to find desperate people. He would fulfill their wishes in exchange for their souls. At this time, there was a man and a girl complaining about their appearance. The girl said that being obese made her desperate. Not only was she being criticized, but she also had difficulty bending down to cut her toenails. Tae-Kang's assistant told them that they had found the right person. Assistant Kang then showed them the agreement and told them to sign it. After 10 years, if they offered their souls, the devil would grant any wish they had. Then, with just one move from Tae-Kang, the girl jumped into the pond. Everyone thought someone was drowning and ran to look, but no one helped. Tae-Kang started counting down. The man suddenly turned into a healthy young man, and the girl had a slim and attractive body. The men standing by the lake jumped in to save her. Even the old man, who couldn't even stand still, ran over to Tae-Kang. These souls were too ordinary. At this time, the time for Do-jun to exchange his soul had come. If Do-jun could find someone who was willing to trade their soul like him and sign the agreement, he could redeem his soul. So Do-jun started looking for people who had fallen into despair. Although there were many pitiful people, they wouldn't take the initiative to complain. When Do-jun was a judge for a singing competition, a contestant caught his attention. Do-jun thought this was the desperate person he was looking for. Do-jun dragged this person to Tae-Kang and told him he had found him. The contestant was excited because he thought he had been signed. Tae-Kang looked at this person up and down and concluded that he was still not qualified. Do-jun panicked and asked why. Tae-Kang explained that he was a level 4 soul. This person's soul had a lower score than his. Tae-Kang needed a level 1 soul. Do-jun asked how he could verify it. Then Tae-Kang snapped his fingers at Assistant Kang, and Assistant Kang began to speak his mind. Assistant Kang scolded Tae-Kang for singing badly because he was an emotionless animal. Manager Kang even tried to slap Tae-Kang a few times. When Tae-Kang snapped his fingers again, Assistant Kang returned to normal. Tae-Kang said this was a normal soul, but the first level soul was different. Even if Tae-Kang snapped his fingers, the first level soul wouldn't say a word, because the inner thoughts and outer actions of a first level soul were the same. When Do-jun went out to eat with his colleagues, he secretly evaluated their soul levels, but no one was suitable. After returning home, he thought about where to find a first level soul, so he went to the bathroom. While thinking, he pulled the curtain open and saw a girl cleaning in the bathroom. He held her head so she wouldn't turn around to look at his body. It turned out that Yi Kyung was sent here to work as a maid by the employment agency. Do-jun's roommate thought they were really faded. Yi Kyung then showed him her resume, and she told him to rest assured because she hadn't seen anything just now. Do-jun closed his legs in embarrassment. He just said that he didn't need a maid right now, but then his roommate blamed him for being heartless. A person who has to work as a maid must have a reason. This sentence reminded Do-jun of the word desperate. This was the person Tae-Kang was looking for. Last time, Do-jun also saw Yi Kyung faint from exhaustion. It was possible that she was a level 1 spirit, so Do-jun immediately went to find Tae-Kang and said that he had found a desperate person who was likely the level 1 spirit Tae-Kang needed. Now Tae-Kang just had to check to find out, so the two went to the cafe where Yi Kyung was working part-time. Although Yi Kyung's expression towards Do-jun was not very friendly, she still acted friendly. She asked them what they wanted to drink. Do-jun deliberately caused trouble to annoy Yi Kyung. He said that she should know what the guests wanted. She ran to someone's house to clean without permission. He also asked her what she thought they would drink. Then, when Yi Kyung brought water, Do-jun told Tae-Kang to check. Tae-Kang snapped his fingers, and Yi Kyung suddenly spoke her mind. Do-jun was a little nervous because he was afraid that she would tell him what she saw in the bathroom, but Yi Kyung said she really wanted to sing. The test ended. Tae-Kang snapped his fingers and Yi Kyung returned to her original state. Do-jun was extremely excited. He saw her as an angel who saved his soul. Do-jun excitedly said that this must be a level 1 soul. When Tae-Kang was in the car returning, he thought again, humans would never have a level 1 soul. But Do-jun couldn't let go of the opportunity to save himself. He kept affirming that Yi Kyung was a level 1 soul. Tae-Kang told Do-jun to stop working in vain. Unless Do-jun could get Yi Kyung to sign the contract directly, he would know what level soul she was. This was the only way. After that, Do-jun used the excuse that his house was short of maids, so he hired Yi Kyung to do the job. Just like that, the two of them often met each other. Do-jun prepares for the next step. Do-jun asks Sojung if she has any plans to recruit someone recently. Sojung advises him not not to worry about other people. Dojun also says that he has seen someone with talent recently, so tomorrow they can give her a chance to perform on stage behind the main singer. Sojun gets angry and tells Dojun not to bother her anymore because she is very busy right now. So Dojun has no choice but to find a way himself. Then Dojun goes to Taekang to ask him to make singer Ra-in have an accident when she goes on stage tomorrow. Taekang says that is not his style of work. Singer Ra-in keeps clinging to him. She even asks him to have dinner with her several times. When Taekang lightly touches Ra-in's hand, she starts to speak her mind. After that, Taekang can't stand it anymore, so he snaps his fingers and Ra-in returns to normal. She was surprised and didn't understand why she was so hot-tempered just now. Dojun then told Taekang that Ra-in had one thing to pay attention to, which was that once she set her sights on a man, she wouldn't let him go. This sentence really scared Taekang. Then Ra-in received a call from Taekang asking her out to dinner. She couldn't believe that he would take the initiative to ask her out, so she immediately went to the meeting place and started acting cute. Ra-in asked if Taekang knew that she had a performance later, so he came to cheer her on. But he said that she was so excellent that he didn't need him to cheer her on. Then he pretended to stroke her cheek, making her heart pound. She even waited for his kiss. Immediately after that, Taekang's eyes lit up, scaring Ra-in to the point of fainting. Taekang just wanted Ra-in to lose all feelings for him. Then Sojung received a call from Ra-in. She cried and said that she had sprained her ankle and had to be hospitalized. Sojung angrily hung up the phone. The show will start in 2 hours and thousands of people are waiting. Dojun starts to propose a solution. Ah will go on stage herself but needs someone to coordinate. Then Sojung says she can't go on stage to coordinate with him. Dojun tells her to rest assured because he has found a way. She doesn't know that this is his scheme. Then Yikyung receives a call from Dojun. He tells her to quickly buy health supplements and sunglasses and come to him. She quickly arrives at his place. He has been waiting for her for a long time. After she gives him the things and is about to leave, he tells her to take the medicine. He says this is her chance. Her musical dream can start from here. And Dojun also has his own purpose, so Yikyung appears as the main vocalist. Dojun plays the accompaniment for Yikyung. The atmosphere in the audience is extremely lively. With the praise of the host, Yikyung became a famous singer overnight. Taekang immediately recognized this as Dojun's goal. Taekang reminded Dojun that he didn't have much time left. By then, he shouldn't waste his efforts. But Dojun was sure that Yikyung was a level 1 soul. Taekang said that he wouldn't disturb Dojun's plan anymore. In fact, Taekang was also secretly targeting Yikyung, a young man who was only 18 years old but had a large tumor on his body. To escape the pain, he sought out the devil. He wanted to use his soul to exchange for 3 wishes. 1 was to remove the tumor on his body, 2 were to become rich, and 3 were for his parents to die at the hands of his brother, and then his brother would be imprisoned for life. When Assistant Kang heard this, she told him that his soul had no trading value. He got angry after hearing this. He believed that buying and selling souls should not be discriminated against. He also threatened to report to the Heeing police. At this time, Taekang said that he could make a deal, but he would immediately take back the young man's soul. Actually, taking away this soul would have no effect. Hearing that, the young man immediately agreed. Taekang put his hand on the young man's head and brought him to hell. The world around him became dark and ruined. All around were walking corpses. This was a world without souls. After selling his soul, he would have to live in this world forever. The young man felt extremely regretful after hearing that. He quickly knelt down to beg the devil, but it was too late. The deal was effective. Taekang brought him back to the human world, but at this time, he no longer had a soul. He walked on the street and accidentally bumped into a few passers-by. He started to get angry and cursed at them. He even smashed their headphones. Taekang had no interest in his soul. Taekang wants a first-class soul that is not selfish and does not complain. But this soul is very rare in the world. In the middle of the night, Yikyung was walking alone in a deserted alley when suddenly a bill fell from the sky in front of her. Yikyung bent down to pick it up and then looked up the sky. She did not know if she was waiting for the second bill to fall. She was very short of money right now. Taekang told Assistant Kang that Yikyung was the only one in the alley. Whoever it was would take that bill. No one could resist the charm of money. But then Assistant Kang pointed to the wall. It turned out that Yikyung had hung the bill on the wall. She also noted that she was afraid of rain, so she put the bill in a plastic bag. Whoever lost the money should take it back. Taekang began to suspect. Then he waved his hand and made the bill disappear. But in fact, he found it quite interesting. Yikyung rushed home and called the homeowner many times, but no one answered. The real estate agent told her to pack up and leave. Yikyung said that even if the landlord sold the house, they would have to notify her in advance. The real estate agent said that they had no choice. The contract clearly stated that if the house was sold, the tenant would have to move out unconditionally. In the end, the real estate agent comforted her that if she signed a contract in the future, she should read it carefully. Just as Yikyung was dragging her luggage and and leaving without knowing where to go. The real estate agent suddenly said that the new landlord had arrived. It turned out that the new landlord was Do-jun. She couldn't be happy looking at the person in front of her because she knew he was up to something. She said that she wouldn't sing anymore, so please give up on that idea. Last time, she went on stage to help him. Even though the effect was very good, she decided not to sing anymore. Do-jun kept tempting Yi-kyung. He said that as long as she became an artist in his company, he would waive her rent. He also brought the contract. He told her to read it and sign it. But this time, Yi-kyung was smarter. She wouldn't sign right away. She read every word, not even missing a period or a comma. Do-jun was extremely worried. Sure enough, she had discovered something unusual. She wondered about the content that singers had to dedicate their souls to the planner. Do-jun pretended not to know anything and asked where that line was written. The picture was written wrong. Yi-kyung thanked Do-jun for taking care of her. She also thanked him for spending a large amount of money to buy back the house. She accepted this kindness, but she didn't want to pursue her musical dream anymore. It turned out that after Yi-kyung returned home that day, her mother scolded her severely because her actions that day could reveal her past. At that time, her family would have to continue living in misery and contempt. Even though Yi-kyung explained that she was just singing for someone else, her mother told her to think about her family. Yi-kyung asked if she wasn't their daughter. Yi-kyung's mother didn't care and turned away. Music was her dream, so she wanted to stand on stage, but now she could only refuse Do-jun's invitation. On the way back, Do-jun was annoyed. He thought that if she wasn't a level 1 spirit, she wouldn't have had such an opportunity so easily, but she arrogantly refused him. Do-jun's agency was in big trouble at the moment. News of Yi-kyung's past spread everywhere. Some said she had a criminal record and had been to jail. She even bullied her friends when she was in school. So-jung was extremely angry because now the audience thought Yi-kyung was their artist, so if they don't admit it, they will suffer a great loss. So now they can only sign the contract with Yi-kyung first and then deal with it later. Do-jun helplessly said that he had already persuaded her to sign the contract, but she did not agree. So-jung said that this was Do-jun's fault, so he had to take responsibility. Even if he signed the contract today and cancelled it tomorrow, he still had to follow the procedure. Outside the office were piles of parcels. They were all things that anti-fans sent to threaten and curse Yi-kyung. Of course, she had also seen the news. After that, Yi-kyung took the initiative to find Do-jun. He immediately took out the contract and told her to sign it because it would be beneficial for her. She could even fulfill her dream. Unexpectedly, she immediately agreed this time. He took the opportunity to tell her to sign here. She wondered if she wasn't offering her soul this time. Do-jun just said that it was because it was just the beginning. Yi-kyung signed without knowing that Do-jun had his own plans. After Do-jun went out, he was extremely excited. This contract would save his soul. Tae-kang just stood quietly by the side and watched. When Yi-kyung arrived at the company, her colleagues criticized her. They said that she was shameless. She did such things and still wanted to be a singer. Do-jun encouraged Yi-kyung not to care about what others said. She just needed to prove her ability. Then they would have to clap for her. There would always be people who would say mean things, so she shouldn't think too much. Do-jun advised Yi-kyung that with people who said mean things, she just needed to face them directly. Yi-kyung mustered up the courage to greet them. Sure enough, they immediately stopped gossiping. Seeing that Yi-kyung was so easy to teach, Do-jun felt that everything was under his control. A strange guy appeared in the office. The staff were all amazed by his beauty. It turned out that Luca came here to apply for Do-jun. Luca just wanted to learn from Do-jun. So-jun just felt that Luca had a bit of a problem with his mind. She was about to reject him when the phone rang. After she picked up the phone, the person said that she had to accept Luca. Although she didn't know what he meant, she still reluctantly agreed. So So-jun told Luca that he was lucky. Do-jun was lacking an assistant. Luca's eyes immediately sparkled. He didn't expect such a favorable situation. When So-jun met Do-jun, he immediately hugged his idol. Anyone who saw them would think they were very close. Do-jun was also very surprised. Luca said that although he came from the countryside, he was very talented in music. Do-jun asked Luca who sent him here. Luca didn't answer directly. He just asked Do-jun if anyone had ever said that Do-jun looked like Dong-chon. Do-jun asked why Luca knew about the singer from long ago. Luca said his mother was a fan of Dong-chon. When mentioning Dong-chon's name, Do-jun didn't want to hear anymore. From So-jun, Do-jun learned that the person who kept Luca was Chairman Lee. The reason was that Luca's family was extremely rich. After hearing this, So-jun sighed because Chairman Lee wanted to use this method to make money. After hearing this, Do-jun laughed out loud. Do-jun didn't know that Chairman Lee would hinder him. Luca and Yi-kyung quickly became Do-jun's students. The two worked together very well. Do-jun stood outside and watched the two work happily together. Do-jun secretly thought that Luca came at the right time. That way, his plan would be completed more quickly. The next day, Do-jun composed a song for Yi-kyung. She thought that the lyrics in the song were hers. She was very touched, but Do-jun only wanted to use Yi-kyung in exchange for his soul. Suddenly, Luca brought a package. Then he realized that he had taken the wrong thing. Kang. Before Luca could say anything, Dojun snatched the package from his hand and took it away. But Luca discovered something unusual. After going out, Dojun opened the letter. It turned out to be his retirement instruction paper at the age of 63. Dojun couldn't believe that 10 years had passed so quickly, but he suddenly discovered something unusual. This letter was for him in the past, so it couldn't be sent to the current company. When Dojun turned his head, he found Luca standing behind him. Luca said that this wasn't Dojun's letter. Dojun pretended that he must have seen it wrong. Then he threw it away. Luca hurriedly took it back and said that he got it from Dongchon's mailbox. Even though Dongchon had disappeared, he thought that if he took these things, he would one day be able to see Dongchon again. At this moment, Dojun didn't know whether to be happy or sad, but he knew that he didn't have much time left. He had to quickly redeem his soul. So, Dojun bought a new guitar for Yi Kyung. She was the key to redeeming his soul. Then, Sojun called Sojung and asked her to give Yi Kyung a chance to perform on the street. Sojung was a little worried about Yi Kyung's ability. If Yi Kyung couldn't do it, Sojung wouldn't forgive him. But Dojun told Sojung to find more reporters. Dojun confidently said that Yi Kyung would definitely be famous. Then the company prepared a street stage. Dojun felt nervous because this matter was related to whether he could redeem his soul or not. Reporters also showed up one after another. But at this time, Yi Kyung was still working part-time at a coffee shop. She was waiting to get off work. After work, she would take a taxi there and then make it to the performance in time. But at this moment, she was noticed by a group of young people. Then she was beaten by them. They also smashed her guitar. Then Dojun hurriedly went to find Yi Kyung. He found a group of people. When they saw Dojun, they immediately ran away. Dojun ran over and saw that Yi Kyung had been beaten badly. He knew that it must be the devil who did it. Yi Kyung helplessly said that she probably wouldn't be able to perform today. At this point, the reporters couldn't wait any longer, so they had almost all left. One reporter even warned Sojung for making them wait in vain. Then Yi Kyung still came and held the repaired guitar and prepared to sing. Even though everyone had left, she still seriously held the guitar and sang. When she heard her singing, more and more people came. At this time, Tae Kang was dating Sojung. She discovered that the person in front of her might not be human, so Sojung said, "You're not Tae Kang, right?" He also stopped pretending. Hearing this, Sojung laughed loudly. Sojung didn't expect Tae Kang to be so determined to take revenge. She thought her boyfriend was still angry with her. She said that it was true that she had abandoned him for work, but did he really have to say that he was a devil? If he wanted to be a devil, then they should start over. But Sojung had no idea that the person in front of her was indeed a devil. He was just taking over Tae Kang's body. When she shook hands with the devil, she felt extremely touched. Then it started to rain. It was the first time Tae Kang shared an umbrella with a human, but he only cared about himself. Sojung could only run after him. He had lived for hundreds of years, but he had never felt so uncomfortable. After Sojung brought Tae Kang to her house, her pet dog barked continuously. Sojung told the dog to stop barking. That was its father. The word father made Tae Kang extremely embarrassed. While Sojung went to make coffee, Tae Kang started to deal with the dog. He narrowed his eyes and then reached out to quiet the dog's spirit. But the dog's will was too strong. It was not affected by Tae Kang at all. Suddenly, Sojung walked over. The dog bit Tae Kang's finger. Seeing Tae Kang bleeding from the bite, Sojung immediately bandaged him. Tae Kang was about to say thank you when Sojung forced a kiss on him. He had never experienced this feeling in hundreds of years. After returning, Tae Kang was depressed all day. He began to analyze the human and the dog. They were both unpredictable animals. Assistant Kang thought that Tae Kang must have been teased emotionally. Tae Kang curiously asked why he had a headache. Could it be that human mouths were poisonous? Assistant Kang explained that this was the feeling of being in love. Tae Kang suddenly realized something. Then Tae Kang took the initiative to touch Assistant Kang's lips, but he didn't feel anything. It was indeed different from when he touched Sojung's lips. Assistant Kang also helplessly shouted that he was a man. Tae Kang seemed to care about these two words, man. As soon as Sojung arrived at the company, Ra-in started to get angry with her. The reason was because the new artist Yi Kyung took all of Ra-in's positions. Ra-in also asked Sojung to explain clearly to her. At this time, Tae Kang walked over. When Ra-in saw him coming, her attitude immediately changed. When Tae Kang looked at Sojung, he suddenly remembered the scene last night. Then he unconsciously touched his chest. In front of the stranger, Sojung just nodded to Tae Kang and left. Meanwhile, Ra-in kept following him, trying to flirt with Tae Kang. But in Tae Kang's eyes, only her mouth caught his attention. Tae Kang aimed at the right spot and kissed Ra-in on the lips. Ra-in was startled and opened her eyes wide to look at Tae Kang. After Tae Kang tried to kiss him, he felt nothing. Even his heart did not react. Tae Kang went straight into the elevator, leaving Ra-in still not understanding anything. Then Tae Kang started thinking. Tae Kang didn't understand why Ra-in couldn't make his heart beat faster, but Sojung was different. She made his heart beat very fast, so he came to the conclusion that this body had a heart disease before. Assistant Kang said this was love. While Tae Kang was thinking about love, a streak of light suddenly suddenly flashed across the sky. He felt that something bad was about to happen. If this thing appeared, he wouldn't have much time left. In the church, Taekang told his father to stay away from him, but his father chased him away. Taekang got angry and revealed his true form as a devil. He said that he became like this because of his father. He would make his father regret it. It turned out that Taekang used to be an angel. Once he saw a man murder a child. However, the god didn't let the angel intervene, causing the child to die. At that time, he thought that gods and devils were no different. His father said they were just angels whose duty was to protect souls. They could not interfere in human affairs. Humans had their own natural laws, but he believed that the selfish souls of humans were not worth protecting, so he faced the fate of having his wings cut off. His father did not protect him. To prove that he was right, he began to turn into a devil. Then he went to buy human souls. Dujun was one of them. Today, Dujun happened to read a newspaper. After Dujun finished reading it, he ran to Taekang. Dujun asked Yikyung if she was a child 10 years ago. Did Taekang know everything beforehand? Seeing that Taekang did not say anything, Dojun punched him, but Dojun's punch had no effect on Taekang. Dujun held his hand in pain. Taekang told Dojun that it was all his choice. Taekang did not force Dojun. Taekang also fulfilled all of Dojun's wishes. If Dojun still wanted to break the agreement, Taekang could take back his first wish. Dojun asked Taekang if he could let Yikyung go. Taekang replied that it was up to Dojun. But this time, Dojun hesitated. It turned out that 10 years ago, on the way home, Dojun was bumped into by a female friend. She was about to leave when he stopped her. He wanted to make her compensate him with another guitar. Suddenly, a man grabbed her hair. Dojun immediately stopped the man. The man immediately asked who he was. Dojun did not hesitate to say that he was her father. This made Yikyung freeze on the spot because Dojun did not know that this man was Yikyung's father. After that, Dojun was beaten up by the man. From then on, Yikyung occasionally came to see Dojun. Gradually, the 53-year-old Dojun became Yikyung's best friend. The two even performed together on the street. One day, Yikyung bumped into someone, and the money in that person's pocket fell out. Dojun became greedy. When Yikyung looked up, she couldn't see Dojun anymore. She didn't know that he had left alone and that he had stuffed the money into her guitar. But Dojun didn't know that this had caused Yikyung to be punished. Yikyung was falsely accused of being Dojun's accomplice. Not only did she have to pay compensation, she also had a criminal record. Up to now, the only person who could save Dojun's soul was Yikyung. Dojun hated Taekang because he made Dojun a bastard, but Taekang wanted to prove that people were all equally evil. When Dojun arrived at the company, Chairman Lee called him Dongchon. Dojun was stunned. He thought to himself that this name was his previous identity. But how did Chairman Lee know this? Dojun looked at him warily, but he was sure that this gaze belonged to Dongchon. He also said that Dojun's posture was exactly like Dongchon's, so he looked around and leaned his face close to Dojun's. He asked Dojun what kind of relationship he had with Dongchon. Dojun also breathed a sigh of relief. Chairman Lee told Dojun to whisper. Dojun could only say the word son. Chairman Lee was extremely surprised. Chairman Lee said that although he often forgot other people's faces, he would never forget this person. It was indeed his best friend's son. After saying that, Chairman Lee hugged Dojun tightly. Right after that, Chairman Lee started telling everyone about this story. Yikyung curiously asked if Dojun's father was that hot-tempered man. Dojun was secretly startled. He thought that maybe he should have said that he was Dongchon's nephew. Sojun was surprised that Dojun hid the fact that he was Dongchon's son, but Luca wanted to know where Dongchon was. Now, Dojun wanted to say something random, but Chairman Lee said that he couldn't go anywhere except wandering around. But Luca excitedly hugged Dojun, making him feel very confused. But Luca later became the one who changed Dojun's fate. At night, Dojun recalled his miserable life before. Dojun was surprised that someone still remembered Dongchon. The next day, he returned to his old house, but strangely, someone was there, secretly checking the mailbox. Dojun immediately asked Luca what he was doing. Luca said that this was Dongchon's house. Luca just wanted to see if Dongchon had returned. Luca said that Dojun was Dongchon's son, so he must know where his father was. In order to stop Luca from looking for Dongchon, Dojun had to harshly say that Dongchon had not appeared for 10 years. That meant he was dead, but Luca absolutely did not believe it. Luca insisted that Dongchon was not dead. Luca suddenly felt a sharp pain in his heart. He couldn't even stand, and finally fainted. Dojun immediately carried Luca to the hospital. When he was pushed into the emergency room, Luca looked at Dojun. This gaze made Dojun suddenly remember his previous seriously ill son. But Dojun comforted himself that Luca wasn't his son, because one of Dojun's 3 wishes when signing the contract was for his son to be safe and healthy, so he assumed that his son was somewhere and living a healthy life. But when Dojun paid the hospital bill for Luca, a worried woman ran over. She asked what room Luca was in. Dojun immediately recognized her, but she didn't recognize him. It turned out that they used to be husband and wife. Many years ago, Dojun and his wife divorced, but one time she reluctantly came to see him. She said that their son was seriously ill. If their son didn't have surgery, he would die. But Do-jun said that they had been divorced for 10 years. Now his ex-wife suddenly came to inform him about the son that he didn't even know about. So this matter felt absurd to him. But then his wife immediately threatened him in a stern voice that if he dared to say that it wasn't his son, she would kill him. After that, Do-jun also believed that his wife wasn't lying. The son suddenly appeared, making him worried. At that time, Do-jun met the devil Tae-kang, so he signed a contract to sell his soul in exchange for 3 wishes. Until now, when Do-jun saw Luca and his ex-wife in the hospital room, he didn't know if it was a coincidence or if it was all arranged by Tae-kang. Tae-kang was now suffering the consequences of what he had done last time. That time, Tae-kang wanted to try kissing Ryan again. However, Ryan couldn't forget that kiss. Ryan also remembered the last time when he faced Tae-kang. His eyes lit up strangely. So Ryan guessed that Tae-kang was not human, but that kiss made Ryan unable to forget him. Tae-kang had no choice but to snap his fingers. Ryan immediately began to speak out all her inner thoughts. She thought he was pretending to force a kiss on her in front of others. Now he was acting arrogant towards her. She asked him if he was toying with her feelings, or should she take the initiative to kiss him first. He immediately snapped his fingers, making Ryan sober up. Only then did he understand that kisses were poisonous. So after Seo-jung kissed Tae-kang, he kept thinking about her and his heart beat fast. At this moment, the doorbell rang. Tae-kang opened the door and saw the person he was thinking about standing in front of him. Then Tae-kang asked Seo-jung that since they had gone on a date to eat and kiss, was there anything that a couple in love hadn't done yet? Seo-jung told Tae-kang to go home with her. Tae-kang didn't understand why he just obediently followed her. When he entered her house, he saw the same sofa and the same yellow dog. Seo-jung said that it had to feel like home. Then she saw that he didn't say anything more, so she blamed herself for being too absorbed in work. She didn't understand his feelings. Seo-jung promised that she would spend more time with Tae-kang in the future if something unexpected happened, and she hoped he would understand. Tae-kang suddenly found his heart beating fast. He felt confused about it. He wondered what the human heart was made of. At this time, Seo-jung received a phone call. After hesitating for a moment, she said that she had something unexpected so that Tae-kang wouldn't worry. Seo-jung explained that it was an urgent matter at company. She promised him that when she finished her work, she would return immediately, but Tae-kang didn't care. Seo-jung then gave Tae-kang a to-do list. She told him that he just had to follow it. First, he received the clothes from the laundry and confirmed that there were 4 sets. Then he put the leftovers in the refrigerator and fed the dog. And finally, he didn't forget to take the dog for a half-hour walk. But he had to prepare 2 plastic bags for dog poop. Indeed, even the devil had to clean up dog poop. At night, Tae-kang thought he had a problem, and suddenly, the doorbell rang. Assistant Kang said it was the first time someone rang his doorbell, but he said it was the second time. Tae-kang thought it was Seo-jung, so he adjusted his clothes. But when Assistant Kang opened the door, Ryan rushed in. Tae-kang looked Ryan up and down. Ryan declared that she wanted to sell her soul. It turned out that Ryan was ignored by her fans today. They were lining up to get Yi-kyung to sign an autograph. That made Ryan extremely angry. So Ryan went to the coffee cart on the side of the road where Yi-kyung worked part-time. Ryan asked the vendor if Yi-kyung had met a noble person. This salesman was Tae-kang's father. He asked if she was going to find the man who sold her soul. Ryan asked who the man was. He asked if Ryan didn't know that it was Tae-kang. But then he realized that he had said something he shouldn't have. So he said that he was a bit crazy and was just talking nonsense. But Ryan already knew why Yi-kyung became famous so quickly. So Ryan decided to go find Tae-kang to sell her soul. But he said that her soul was too simple and had no trading value. But Ryan understood that simplicity was a priceless treasure. Tae-kang had no choice but to say bluntly that simplicity was stupid because it had no value, it couldn't be traded. Hearing that, Ryan got angry. She said that even demons look down on people. Assistant Kang saw this and immediately made an excuse to tell Ryan to go home. So Ryan ran to Tae-kang's father. Ryan said that Tae-kang refused to buy her soul. She didn't understand why he didn't buy her soul. What was wrong with her soul that made him refuse like that? Then Tae-kang's father helped Ryan analyze it specifically. Souls are divided into many types. What Tae-kang needed was a level 1 soul. Ryan said that no matter what, she had to exchange her soul to fulfill her wish. But Tae-kang's father said that a level 1 soul was something sacred and noble. Ryan immediately swore that she would become a level 1 soul. Then while Tae-kang was reading a book, he suddenly covered his face with the book. It turned out that Ryan had just arrived in an angelic white outfit. Ryan even tried to greet Tae-kang and his assistant gently. Tae-kang didn't know what Ryan was planning to do, but Ryan immediately asked Tae-kang if he had the feeling of a level 1 soul. Tae-kang curiously asked if Ryan had gone to find the street vendor. Ryan just wanted to ask if they could exchange souls now. Tae-kang was bored and didn't want to talk, so he stood up and left. Assistant Kang asked him why he had to go through all this trouble. Tae-kang just needed to collect Ryan's soul soul, and that would be it. But Taekang knew he couldn't fulfill Ryan's wish because her wish was to have his love, but Ryan still wouldn't give up. At midnight, Ryan went to Taekang's house. At that moment, Sojung walked in and saw Ryan. So Ryan hurriedly went over to ask why Sojung was here. Sojung said that she cared about the company's artists, and then she warned Ryan because Ryan's actions could cause misunderstandings. If there was any scandal tomorrow, Ryan would be eliminated. Ryan looked at the bag in Sojung's hand and asked if Sojung was also here to make a transaction. Sojung thought Ryan was talking about an unhealthy deal, so she sent Ryan back to practice. Then Sojung rang Taekang's doorbell. As soon as Sojung opened the door, Sojung immediately invited him to drink, but Taekang said he was tired and he told her to go home. Sojung said she was tired too and she went straight inside. Sojung wanted the two of them to be closer, but Taekang said that if she was tired, she could sleep on the sofa. But when Taekang returned to the room, he punched himself in the heart. He scolded himself for his heart beating randomly. Then he suddenly heard a noise outside. Sojung accidentally spilled beer on the chair. Taekang suddenly appeared right next to her and wiped the chair for Sojung. Sojung couldn't believe her eyes. She thought it was an illusion. Dojun was busy preparing for the performance. Then Dojun discovered that Taekang was also there. Sojung said, Taekang came as a guest. Dojun didn't pay attention to Taekang's words. Now Dojun just wanted to ask if Luca was going to the show. Sojung didn't understand what Dojun meant. At this time, the assistant ran over to inform that Luke had fainted during his prayer practice. Dojun worriedly asked if Luca was okay. Seeing Luca so weak, Dojun angrily looked at Taekang. His expression was very calm. Dojun couldn't stand it anymore, so he pulled Taekang out. Taekang asked Dojun why he was so rude. Dojun said that Taekang must have done something to make Luca like that. Taekang said that cheating was something only humans would do. Dojun warned Taekang not to harm Luca. Taekang pretended to be surprised. Taekang asked if Luca was Dojun's son. Dojun just wanted to strangle this evil man. Now Dojun couldn't accept his son back. Luca also thought Dojun was his half-brother. At the hospital, the doctor informed Luca's mother that his old illness had relapsed. The doctor also suggested that Luca get surgery soon, but Luca escaped the hospital and said he didn't want to get surgery because he still hadn't found his father. His mother advised him that only by getting surgery would he have a chance to find his father. But he knew that once he entered the operating room, he wouldn't have a chance to go out and find his father. His mother saw that she couldn't persuade, so she remembered that Chairman Lee had said that her ex-husband's son was at their company. Then Luca's mother went to see Dojun. When Luca's mother looked at Dojun, she immediately thought that he looked a lot like his father. Then she also made clear her purpose in meeting him. Dojun said that he would advise Luca to get surgery. Actually, Dojun was also very worried about his son. At first, because his son was seriously ill, he stole money to treat his son. Then he even made a deal with the devil. He used his soul in exchange for 3 wishes. The first wish was for his son to be healthy, but now his son was in danger, which made him extremely worried. So Dojun used his identity as an older brother to persuade Luca. Dojun said that the surgery was minor, so Luke had nothing to be afraid of. Luca was a little sad. Dojun knew what Luca was worried about, so he said that he would always be by Luca's side, so Luca should rest assured that nothing would happen. Sure enough, after Luca heard these words, he immediately agreed. But Taekang didn't know that this surgery would change everything. Luca quickly entered the operating room. Dojun was extremely worried outside. He didn't expect the worst to happen. Then the surgery suddenly had an accident. Luca's heart rate was decreasing. Dojun was extremely worried. At this time, the doctor came out and told Luca's mother to prepare herself mentally. The doctors were also trying their best. Luca's mother could not stand still. Dojun started to panic. He could not stand there and watch his only son die. So Dojun thought of Taekang, but the devil is not a charity. Although Dojun begged Taekang to save Luca, Taekang said that he could not interfere in human affairs. But Dojun kept begging Taekang to save Luca. Taekang still said that he could not. Dojun grabbed Taekang and said that he could die in Luca's place. Whatever Taekang wanted, Dojun would do. As long as Taekang saved Luca, that was fine. Then Taekang threw the agreement in front of Dojun. Taekang told Dojun to immediately find a level 1 soul to sign the contract. The person Taekang was talking about was Yi Kyung. At this time, Luca in the operating room had no hope of living. The doctors had been in surgery for 10 hours. Luca shed tears of regret because he might never see his father again. Then the doctor came out to tell Luca's mother the bad news. Luca's mother fainted immediately. After hearing that, Yi Kyung was also heartbroken. But strangely, Dojun wasn't there. So Yi Kyung went out to look for Dojun. She saw him walking in the rain. He was sitting on the side of the road as if he knew Luca wouldn't survive. Although Yi Kyung didn't know what happened to Dojun, she guessed that it was probably because he sympathized with Luca. After all, Luca was Dojun's younger brother, so it was normal for Dojun to be heartbroken. At this time, Dojun told Yi Kyung that he wanted her soul. Yi Kyung didn't understand what Dojun meant. Tae-kang knew that Do-jun was determined to bring Yi-kyung's soul, so he decided to go save Luka first. In the operating room, the doctors were preparing to clean up and turn off the equipment when a man walked in. It was Tae-kang's father. Strangely, no one could see him. He looked at Luka lying on the operating table. Then he reached out and touched Luka's head. Suddenly, the heart monitor signaled again. The nurse quickly informed the doctor that the patient was not dead. Then everyone began to rescue Luka. Do-jun did not know about this. Do-jun told Yi-kyung that he had lived for 100 years, so he took out the agreement from his pocket. Yi-kyung thought that Do-jun was too heartbroken, so she hugged him, but he just wanted her to sign the soul sale agreement. Just as Luka was about to make it clear that he was Dong-chon, someone suddenly announced that Luka had woken up. Tae-kang had just arrived at the hospital when he met his father again. He knew that his father had intervened in this matter. Do-jun confirmed that Luka was still alive. He was confused because he did not have a level 1 soul yet. But why was Luka still alive? But Do-jun could not think too much. Luka was alive, so Do-jun was happy. Tae-kang knew that although Luka was not saved by him, he thought that Do-jun would come to him anyway. Then Tae-kang concluded that humans were greedy animals. Tae-kang was forced to teach Do-jun a lesson. Do-jun went down to the basement to calm down, and there he found Tae-kang waiting for him. A devil who had lived for more than 500 years could not be toyed with by a human. Tae-kang's eyes immediately changed color. At this moment, Do-jun felt regretful. The next morning when Do-jun woke up, he found himself back to his old appearance. Do-jun cursed Tae-kang as a bastard. Suddenly, Do-jun heard footsteps, so he quickly hid so that his roommate wouldn't see him. But his roommate kept following him, so Do-jun had no choice but to go out. But his friend discovered him and asked who he was. Do-jun could only pretend that he was in the wrong place. After saying that, he left, but the friend saw that the clothes the man was wearing were familiar, so he immediately thought that the man had stolen Do-jun's clothes, so he didn't hesitate to chase after Do-jun. Do-jun immediately ran away, thinking that if he had known, he wouldn't have let this friend stay. Then, Do-jun had no choice but to look for Tae-kang. He was about to go in when he heard a familiar voice. It was So-jung's voice. Tae-kang asked Do-jun if he wanted to go in and eat with them. Do-jun told Tae-kang to enjoy it slowly and then choked on his food and died. Unexpectedly, Do-jun slept overnight on a park bench. His stomach growled with hunger, but he didn't bring enough money, so he could only buy a box of candy and walk back to his previous house. Then he drank a whole bottle of wine by himself. Tae-kang suddenly appeared and asked Do-jun if he had fun. Do-jun angrily told Tae-kang that if he were in my situation, he would know. Tae-kang reminded him that Do-jun was stalling for time. After listening, Do-jun asked Tae-kang if he still had any conscience. Tae-kang told Do-jun to go sign the agreement with Yi-kyung. Conscience is not worth anything. It even makes Do-jun live in fear. Do-jun told Tae-kang to give him a little more time. Do-jun promised that he would bring Yi-kyung's soul to Tae-kang. Before Do-jun could finish speaking, Tae-kang interrupted him, saying that he had waited for a long time. Do-jun knew that Tae-kang intended to take his soul, so he quickly said that there were still 3 months left in the contract. Therefore, Tae-kang was not allowed to take Do-jun's soul. Tae-kang told Do-jun to rest assured because he was only protecting the soul for Do-jun. Without the soul, Do-jun would work faster and more decisively, and he could easily deal with Yi-kyung to get the first level soul. Then Tae-kang clapped his hands and black smoke rose. After Tae-kang looked over at once, Do-jun's mind immediately went blank. When Do-jun woke up, he found himself lying on a bed. Moreover, his appearance had regained its youthfulness. He knew this was not a dream. He even knew that he was now a person without a soul. Indeed, his eyes were much colder and more emotionless. Even when driving, he drove very fast because he had no patience. Even when parking, he had to take up 2 spaces. This was the manifestation of a selfish person without a soul. When Do-jun got home, he saw that there was a guest in his house. Chairman Lee immediately called Do-jun Dong-chan. Chairman Lee also asked Yi-kyung if he knew that Do-jun was an old man over 60 years old. Do-jun immediately warned Chairman Lee that he had not filled out his 3rd wish yet. If Chairman Lee dared to do anything, Do-jun would make him live a miserable life. Indeed, people without souls are fearless. Yi-kyung was now worried about her brother, so Do-jun made an appointment to meet Yi-kyung to help her solve everything. Actually, what Do-jun needed was Yi-kyung's level 1 soul. Tae-kang was proud that he had won, but when Tae-kang got out of the car, he suddenly felt danger. At that moment, Tae-kang was seen by So-jung without him knowing. An old woman walking on the street was suddenly pressed against the wall by Tae-kang. His eyes were full of anger, but the old woman smiled sarcastically. Tae-kang immediately got angry and choked the old woman. Then his eyes turned red. Then the old woman immediately revealed her true form. Tae-kang said that because she was his former colleague, he would let her go today. Then, he threw her out. The girl immediately turned into an old woman again. Unexpectedly, all of this was seen by So-jung. So-jung didn't know what happened to her boyfriend. After returning, So-jung immediately took out the sedative. She was sure that she was hallucinating. To complete the deal with Tae-kang, Do-jun brought along the soul purchase contract. Do-jun wanted to take advantage of Yi Kyung's current situation to sell her soul. But the assistant told Ji Kyung that Dojun was Dongchon, and the soul purchaser was Taekang, a devil living in human form. This sentence reminded Ji Kyung of a series of Dojun's unusual behaviors. She couldn't believe that the man she had been searching for so long was right next to her. Dojun didn't know anything. Dojun was about to go out when he saw Luca coming to find him. Luca asked Dojun why he came to find my mother. That's why Luca was now forced by his mother to return to America. Even though Dojun didn't like Luca, he still considered Dojun his brother. But Dojun still took Luca to the hospital. Luca begged Dojun to let him see his father once. Since he was little, Luca had only been able to say a few words to his father. But Dojun said that even if Luca was Dongchon's son, he wouldn't accept Luca as his younger brother. Moreover, Dongchon didn't consider Luca as his son either. Even though Dojun was cold, Luca kept begging him. But Dojun still insisted on telling Luca to go home. Then Luca watched Dojun drive away. Luca kept chasing after him. Dojun told Luca to stop chasing after him. After a while, Dojun saw that Luca wasn't chasing after him anymore. Dojun was finally relieved, so Dojun called Yi Kyung to ask where she was. Yi Kyung said that she was going to find Luca because she had just heard a strange story. Then she asked him if he was a man named Dongchon. Dojun was annoyed and called Chairman Lee a bastard because Dojun knew that he could only have told this to Yi Kyung. Dojun immediately turned around to look for Yi Kyung, but at this moment, Luca called Yi Kyung. He sadly said that his brother didn't need him anymore. Dojun also told Luca to go away. Yi Kyung knew that Luca had just had surgery and he shouldn't be too excited, so she comforted him not to go anywhere. She would come to him right away. Then Luca saw Yi Kyung on the other side of the street, so he walked towards her without paying attention to his surroundings. Yi Kyung told Luca not to come here, but before she could finish speaking, he was hit by a car. Seeing Luca lying motionless, Yi Kyung immediately ran there. But Luca was dying. Kyung cried out in despair for someone to call an ambulance. Just then, Taekang saw this scene. He was about to go there when he was called back. The person who called Taekang was an angel from God. He reminded Taekang not to break the rules of humanity. People died, so they went where they were supposed to go. But Taekang said that Luca's fate had been changed a few days ago, so he had no right to change it anymore. This time, he was the one who caused the accident, so Taekang wouldn't do as he wished. After saying that, Taekang went to save Luca, but the angel immediately moved his position and stood right in front of Taekang. He held the demon-slaying sword in his hand and was about to slash Taekang. Suddenly, someone blocked the sword for Taekang. That person was Taekang's father, an angel from the gods. The angel told Taekang's father that covering for Taekang was the same as sabotage. Today, the angel had to make Taekang disappear. Then the angel summoned other angels. It seemed that they had prepared before coming here. Taekang knew that he had to participate in this inevitable battle, so Taekang reached out his hand. Then a demonic sword appeared. Taekang's father was extremely worried about him. Then Taekang started to kill like crazy. The angels he slashed immediately disappeared. Suddenly, an angel slashed Taekang's back. This slash did not make Taekang disappear, but if Taekang was slashed again, he would definitely be destroyed. At the moment of danger, Taekang's father stabbed the angel with his sword. The angel immediately disappeared. Taekang was surprised that his father had broken the law of heaven for him, but he was still determined not to forgive his father. That day, if it weren't for his father, he wouldn't have fallen into this situation. Taekang went to Luca, who had stopped breathing. At this moment, Dojun also went and helped Luca up. Dojun asked Yi Kyung what happened to Luca. Dojun suddenly realized that Luca was dead. Then Dojun looked at Taekang. Dojun said that Taekang's agreement was useless. Taekang said that it was because of the god's intervention. Dojun angrily shouted, "How dare you tease me?" But before Dojun could get close to Taekang, he raised his finger and threw Dojun a few meters away. Dojun cursed Taekang as a heartless bastard, but Taekang told Dojun that he should know that only he can save him now. Dojun immediately took the soul purchase contract and knelt down in front of Taekang. Dojun kept begging Taekang to save Luca. Taekang looked at Yi Kyung and said that only she could help Luca now. Dojun then went in front of Yi Kyung and told her to sell her soul to the devil. That way she could fulfill 3 wishes. Seeing that Yi Kyung did not waver, Dojun was very worried. Dojun told Yi Kyung that she had a good soul, so she should use her soul to exchange for Luca's life. Then he urged her to sign quickly. Yi Kyung stopped to look at Dojun, and then she signed the contract. Immediately after that, Luca's hands started moving. Then he disappeared and appeared in the hospital hallway. The strange thing was that after the doctors checked him, they discovered that he had no injuries. They also didn't know where the blood stains on Luca's body came from. They also reminded Luca's mother to pay attention to his psychology. Yi Kyung was also covered in blood. She no longer had a soul. This made everything she saw dark. At this time, Taekang was congratulating Dojun for being released. His soul was also returned. Taekang's father, who was beside them, saw this and silently cursed Dojun for being a coward. But Dojun didn't think so. This was arranged by the devil. At that time, Dojun didn't have a soul, so he he was forced to do it. But Taikang's father said that Taikang had already returned his soul. Only then did Dojun remember that Taikang had patted him on the shoulder that day. It turned out that Taikang had returned Dojun's soul at that time, so Dojun's actions just now were entirely his own idea. It was also the selfishness that Taikang wanted to prove to his father. Even if they have souls, humans are still selfish, so Taikang insisted that he was right. That's why when Dojun saw Luca chasing after his car, he shed tears. Hearing that, Dojun felt extremely remorseful, but he didn't know that this selfishness of his had made him miserable, because after Yikyung lost her soul, she completely changed. The man who had just returned home from surgery was forced to kneel by his daughter. He didn't complain and immediately did as she said. The mother began to feel a little guilty. The older brother beside her began to apologize. He said that all of this was his fault. After saying that, he knelt down and asked his sister for forgiveness. Yikyung threatened that she would make them live in regret. Her mother could not have imagined that her gentle aunt would now become so cold. Even when she arrived at the company, she was angry and scolded her boss. She said that currently in the artist company, there was no one else who could make money except her, so Sojung had to behave herself. Sojung was annoyed and wanted to go up and teach Yikyung a lesson, but Dojun immediately stood up to stop her. At this moment, Ra-in suddenly walked in. Ra-in immediately scolded Yikyung for being low class. Why did Yikyung dare to wear Ra-in's clothes? Dojun originally wanted to stop Ra-in from continuing, but she ran straight to steal the clothes, so Ra-in was pushed down on the sofa by Yikyung. Ra-in couldn't believe that Yikyung dared to get angry. Yikyung even threw things at Ra-in, but only Dojun knew that Yikyung had become like this because of him. So Dojun went to see Taikang to ask if he could return Yikyung's soul. Even if he used Dojun's soul in exchange, Taikang laughed because he was too used to people regretting what they said. So Taikang gave Dojun another chance to choose. One side was Luca's life, the other side was Yikyung's soul. Taikang also asked if Dojun would choose Yikyung this time, so Dojun couldn't answer. Taikang clapped his hands and said that he still chose to give up Yikyung. After Yikyung lost her soul, she became cold and no one could get close to her. She even threw her favorite guitar into the trash. Luca sighed and asked Yikyung what happened. Why did she suddenly turn into a different person? Yikyung asked Luca if she believed in miracles. Then Luca went to see Dojun. It turned out that Yikyung told Luca that everything was because of Dojun. Because of Luca, Dojun sold his soul. Then Dong Cheo turned into Dojun. After Luca got into a car accident, his father begged her to exchange her soul to save him. Luca said that he was in pain. Dojun nervously asked Luca where it hurt. Should they tell Luca's primary care physician? Luca said sorry. Dojun didn't understand. Dojun asked Luca why he apologized to him. Luca didn't have to reveal the truth, but he secretly said thank you to his father. Dojun seemed to know something too. Neither of them said it out loud. Perhaps there was a kind of family love that was silently sacrificed and kept hidden in the heart. Luca walked on an uncertain path. He felt extremely guilty, so he sought out the devil. He asked the devil to take him away so that his father and Yikyung could return to how they were before. Taikang told Luca that a child's courage was useless. When Luca heard that, he immediately knelt down at Taikang's feet. Luca begged Taikang to make his father and Yikyung return to how they were before. Taikang said that Luca's troubled appearance was exactly like his father's. Luca's actions were useless, but strangely, Dojun's house suddenly had an uninvited guest. She immediately used her superpower to teleport in front of Dojun. Then she took out a letter from her body. This letter was very familiar to Dojun. He immediately felt extremely confused, but he could not help but accept it. The woman bowed to him and then she immediately disappeared. Dojun opened the letter. It said that there were only 10 days left in the 10-year period. Dojun was angry and immediately went to find Taikang. But Taikang told Dojun that if the Grim Reaper personally delivered this letter, it meant that Yikyung signing the contract to sell her soul had nothing to do with Dojun. In addition, at that time, Dojun had indeed given the contract to Yikyung to sign. But because Yikyung hesitated, Taikang snatched the contract and threw it away. Then Yikyung signed the contract himself. That meant that Yikyung had signed the contract with Taikang and had nothing to do with the intermediary. So Dojun's soul trading contract is still valid as before. Dojun still has to continue to fulfill the contract. Moreover, the notice letter was personally delivered by the Grim Reaper himself, so it cannot be changed. Dojun was extremely angry, so he threatened that even if he became a ghost, he would not forgive them. But Taikang also had his own troubles. His father came to find him and told him to stop fighting meaninglessly because he could not fight against the gods. But Taikang said that he wanted to prove the gods wrong. Finally, his father reminded him that the will of humans is strong. He thinks too much. Now what he has to do is return all the souls. Only then can he avoid the most cruel punishment. This is also the reason why his father came to the human world to find him. Taikang immediately became angry and said that since he was young, his father had never recognized his ability. He just wanted to prove that he was right. Finally, Finally, Taekang's father apologized for not caring about Taekang's feelings. Taekang didn't know if he felt any better after hearing these words. Dojun held the letter informing him that he only had 10 days left and suddenly felt helpless. He wondered what he could do in those 10 days. Dojun then went to see Taekang's assistant and asked where the souls that Taekang had taken were. Assistant Kang told Dojun that he knew, but even if Dojun took Yikyung's soul, if her willpower wasn't strong enough, her soul wouldn't return to her body. Dojun didn't seem to understand. Assistant Kang told Dojun that he would understand one day, but Dojun thought that Assistant Kang and the devil were the same. They liked to tease others, but Assistant Kang's word were all reasonable. At this moment, Taekang was also reflecting on himself. He wondered if what his father said was true. Should he return the souls of those selfish people? Taekang thought for a long time when he saw the souls he had collected. Then he gently stroked them with his finger. A few souls immediately flew away. Whether these souls could return to their bodies or not was entirely up to them. If what his father said was true, then the willpower of humans was very strong. But he did not know that in order to save him, his father had killed another angel. That was against the law of heaven. God had appeared to deal with this matter. He looked at his car and thought that maybe it was time for him to say goodbye to it. Then he pushed the door open and entered the store. Immediately after, both he and his car disappeared. Taekang seemed to have sensed this as well. His head hurt as if it was about to split open. He knelt down on the ground. He knew his father was gone. His chest immediately hurt terribly. Having lived in the human world for 500 years, this was the first time he cried. Taekang's wound had not yet healed, but Sojung came to hurt his heart. She suddenly discovered that the man in front of her might not be human. What was even more frightening was that he could throw people away with his hands. What was even more strange was that this person could transform into an old man and a young woman. Anyone who saw this scene would definitely be scared, so she was sure that he was not her lover of 5 years. She questioned the man in front of her who he was. The man closed his eyes. It was unknown whether he was heartbroken or helpless, but he had already fallen in love with her. He told Sojung that he had told her before that he was a devil, but at that time she only thought that her boyfriend was angry with her, so he said that to intentionally provoke her. She did not expect that the person in front of her now was really a devil. Sojung angrily shouted that he was a liar. After saying that, she snatched the necklace he gave her and threw it at him. He immediately got a scratch on his face. She told them to stop. Taekang said that he knew that no one liked him, but he didn't know that Sojung's tears were for him. After returning, Sojung started to think again. No matter how angry her boyfriend was, he shouldn't have felt strange when he met her. Turned out that he was already a devil inside her body. Before, no matter how angry she was at her boyfriend, she just had to act cute and he would immediately calm down. Now Taekang's feelings for Sojung were completely different. But why did she only find out now? Even though breaking up was nothing to a devil who had lived for 500 years, he didn't understand why he felt so heartbroken. Suddenly, he felt like there was someone outside. But strangely, when he opened the door, he didn't see anyone. When he was about to close the door, Sojung appeared. Her whole body smelled of alcohol. She punched him in the chest and asked him if he could hear her words. He thought that if he sold his soul to the devil in exchange for success, she would care more about him. Actually, there had been no more love between them for a long time. At this moment, the devil came to end their relationship, so she had to thank the devil for his lies. That way, she wouldn't blame herself anymore. They didn't owe each other anymore. After saying all these words, Sojung also left in tears. Seeing her in such pain, he also felt heartbroken. After Sojung returned home, she just wanted to take a sedative to help her sleep, but it seemed like she couldn't sleep, so she took a few more pills. Then the scene before her eyes became blurry. Then she suddenly felt like she was lying in someone's arms. Moreover, it was an angel spreading its wings. But strangely, she enjoyed this feeling. She didn't know that this was real and not a dream. When Sojung woke up, she found herself in the hospital. Dojun nervously said that it was a good thing he discovered it in time, but it seemed like Sojung didn't want to wake up. Dojun knew for sure that this matter was related to Taekang. Dojun saw the people around him fall one by one, and he thought that everything was caused by him. If it weren't for his ambition 10 years ago, the devil wouldn't have targeted him. The devil wouldn't have followed him all day and hurt the people around him. Then he took his guitar and went to see the devil. The devil seemed to have guessed that Dojun would come here. Then Dojun took out his ancient sword. He decided to destroy the devil. Dojun told the devil that as long as he disappeared, everything would return to the way it was. After saying that, Dojun slashed Taekang. Dojun did not know that if he angered the demon, the consequences would be dire. Taekang immediately took out a sword from ancient times, but Dojun thought that his sword was stronger than Taekang's sword. But soon after, Dojun was stabbed through the chest, but strangely, his wound suddenly healed itself. However, the pain was still real. Taekang told Dojun that even if he wanted to die, he could not because he still had to carry a body without a soul living in this world. Dojun immediately admitted defeat and begged Taekang to spare him him because he did not want to live like that. But Taekang told Dojun that signing a contract was no joke. All of this was his choice, and he had to pay the price for his choice. Dojun felt that he could not change the situation, so he suddenly cut off the branch containing the souls. The souls that had been stored for 500 years immediately flew out. Taekang's heart stopped. Dojun thought that Taekang was heartbroken because he lost his soul. Taekang looked at the souls flying everywhere. Those souls could never return. Taekang originally only wanted to use souls to prove the selfishness of humans. He also thought that one day he would return their souls. But now the souls were flying everywhere. If a person had enough willpower, perhaps the soul would return. If not, the others would live as zombies for the rest of their lives. Actually, Taekang was fine. When Taekang found Sojung fainted, he resolutely carried her to the emergency room. Suddenly, Taekang saw a god blocking his way. The god wanted to punish Taekang. Taekang immediately said, "Wait for me to come back. I will accept punishment later." Because of a woman, he had given up his 500-year resistance. After Dojun returned, he saw that he had 6 days left to offer his soul. This time, he accepted his fate. In order to avoid regrets, Dojun went to see Chairman Lee, who had always been against him. Dojun said that Chairman Lee had picked up the manuscript that he had thrown into the trash. Then Chairman Lee turned it into his song. Although Dojun hated Chairman Lee, he felt even happier. But Chairman Lee told Dojun to stop pretending. At this moment, Dojun saw a soul approaching Chairman Lee. Dojun was extremely nervous. This proved that the willpower was calling Chairman Lee's soul. Dojun stared at the other person, but, strangely, the soul did not return to the body. Suddenly, Chairman Lee dusted off his body. Dojun immediately searched all over his body to see where the soul had gone, but he immediately became angry. It was clear that the soul had not returned to him yet. At this time, Yi Kyung did not have a soul, so she was not in the mood to compose. Moreover, she was very hot-tempered. Yi Kyung discovered a dandelion flower with a soul, but it seemed like no one could see it. She slowly reached out her hand. The strange thing was that this thing landed on her hand. Just now, when Yi Kyung was in the car, it had been flying around her. I don't know if it was because she was too cold or not, but it was so scary that it left. Now Yi Kyung is an extremely famous singer. As soon as she appeared, a lot of fans surrounded her, but she couldn't avoid being attacked by anti-fans. If it weren't for her assistant shielding her, she would have probably had an egg on her face. She didn't expect that in front of everyone. She raised her middle finger. No famous person would dare to do that. But only Dojun knew that Yi Kyung was like this because of him. Dojun saw that he only had 2 days left to live, so he had to make up for all the mistakes he had made. After that, Dojun went to see Sojung and asked her to record a video of him confessing that he had copied Yi Kyung's music. That's why he's so famous now. At the same time, Dojun apologized to Yi Kyung and his fans. This video quickly became the top search. Although Yi Kyung doesn't have a soul, when she saw this video, she still had strange feelings in her heart. Perhaps it was because she no longer had hatred in her heart. She used her willpower to summon the soul and let it merge into her body. A smile appeared on Yi Kyung's face again. At this moment, she was a Yi Kyung with a soul. Then Yi Kyung announced that this would be her last performance. The fans below began to gossip loudly. She felt that she was not suitable for the life of a celebrity, but she would not stop pursuing music. From now on, she would sing her songs on the sidewalk or in bars. Dojun also decided to leave the noise and the world he lived in. Who knows how far he has gone? Taekang was standing here waiting for Dojun. Taekang did not come here to confide, but he came here for work. It seemed that Dojun already knew Taekang's purpose. Dojun asked Taekang, "Did you come here to take my soul?" Taekang said that taking Dojun's soul was his last mission. Dojun knew that this was his choice. It was time for him to fulfill his promise. Then Dojun reached out and grabbed Taekang's hand. Dojun's soul gradually left his body and flew into the air. His eyes were also soulless. This was the reason why he decided to leave human life. Because people without souls are extremely hot-tempered. They can't even control themselves. When encountering a sandstorm, Dojun immediately became angry. He started cursing the wind and even tortured himself. The devil was also taken away by the gods. Then the gods put handcuffs on him, but these handcuffs weighed 10 kilograms. Then he was taken away by the gods and left behind a soul. It then entered the body of actor Taekang again. Taekang also recovered his will. He was a very popular actor, so he was often interviewed exclusively by reporters. There were even fans who asked for his autograph. The person who asked for Taekang's autograph was Dojun with an old appearance. When Dojun saw the autograph Taekang signed for him, he knew that the devil was no longer there. But suddenly the landlord came, making Dojun scared and about to run away. The landlord told him not to be nervous because she came here just to tell him that the landlord had changed. But what Dojun was concerned about was whether the rent would increase again. Suddenly, the new landlord appeared. It was Yi Kyung. She asked him what was going on. Dojun told Yi Kyung that he was saved by kind nomads. In the end, the devil did not have the heart to take Dojun's soul. So the devil asked a nomadic boy to give his soul to Dojun. In the end, Dojun and Yi-kyung cooperated. She rented him a house, and the two performed there together. The money earned would be divided in a ratio of 7 parts for her and 3 parts for him. But suddenly, Do-jun felt like he was going to get sick, so he immediately ran away to the kitchen. Yi-kyung thought that Do-jun did not agree with the revenue-sharing ratio. Then she said that it would be fine to divide it in a ratio of 6 parts for her and 4 parts for him. It turned out that Do-jun transformed into a young man. Yi-kyung was very surprised. Do-jun angrily scolded the devil for not being careful in his work, so he transformed once every day. After that, they formed a music group. One person took the stage name of the ventricle and the other of the atrium. This means that they used their hearts to express the soul of the song. The drama ends here. Thank you for your interest and attention. Goodbye, and see you again.